Bob. Where the fuck are you, Bob? Are you serious? I've been waiting for 45 minutes. This is the last time I send you to the goddamn video store. I told you I need movies to watch. I got reviews to do. Just hurry up and pick a few movies and get your ass back over here. Fucking prick.
Bob's been really bad, Mama Bear.
I hope you like the movies I picked, douchebag. They look like really good flicks. Alright, Bob, see, this is a good pick right here. Mongrel, I love this fucking movie. That's a good one. I'll definitely be doing that one. Alright, The Punisher, that's pretty cool. Good job, Bob. Piece of shit. Alright, Demons, that's a classic. There you go. See, you're learning all the time from me, Bob. That's really good. Scream, that's a decent atmospheric slasher. That's a good one. Rawhead Rex. Now here we go, Bob. This is the one I'll be doing next for sure. I've been wanting to review this one for a long time, so I'm gonna set that over right on top. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this, Bob? Mater's Tall Tales. I waited all night for this. I'm not watching this piece of shit, Bob. No, don't throw that movie. I love that one. I'm gonna pick it up off the floor.
With my anus.
My balls will a bust. Sorry, Bob. We're not watching Mater's Tall Tales. You can save that and watch it with your wife sometime. Instead, we're gonna watch Rawhead Rex. How does that sound? Well, I'm gonna go in the bathroom and take a nice dookie. I'll be back in a little bit.
I'm also gonna squeeze out some nice farts in the bathroom when I dookie. I let out long, stinky farts.
I have had it with this shit, Bob. I'm under a lot of stress. And I swear, if you interrupt me while I'm watching Rawhead Rex one more time, no, I promise, please don't hurt me.
Hi, Henry. Hi, Henry. Hi. Hi, Henry. Hi, Henry. Hi.
Hey guys, it's me again, Eric here at Mountaintop 9, and tonight I want to talk about the legendary Rawhead Rex from 1986, directed by George Pavlou. Now this movie is famous for the fact that it comes from the mind of Clive Barker, and he needs no fucking introduction. We all know that he's the man who also brought us Hellraiser and Candyman and many other cool things over the years. But let's get into Rawhead Rex specifically. This movie takes me a long ways back, man. This is another horror flick that I grew up on, that I watched as a young kid. And you know, one of the things that bothered me growing up, when I got older, when I got into my teenage years, I'd be looking in review books, and then once, you know, the internet became a big thing and you could get on websites like the Internet Movie Database, I'd get on there and I'd see people talking shit about Rawhead Rex. People would be saying that the monster design was done poorly, or that he looked stupid. Shit like that. That always lit a fire under my ass, because I always grew up thinking that Rawhead Rex looked cool as fuck. I always loved the design on him, and I always thought that he was a ferocious looking monster. I mean, when I watched this movie when I was 6 years old, I thought that Rawhead looked like he could kick ass and take names, and that's sure as fuck what he did. I mean, look at the teeth on that thing. I think the design on Rawhead Rex is top tier shit. You know, they had a special animatronic head that they did for close-up shots, but then the costume itself, that they used. When the guy was dressed up as the character, I mean, he was a formidable character. I mean, he would charge at you. I mean, Rawhead didn't just walk after his victims. Oh, no, 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 no. When you watch Rawhead Rex, I mean, he charges after people fast like a fucking bull. And the fangs on this thing, they're just immense. They look like they can tear you limb from limb. He looks extremely tall. He looks like he's 7 or 8 feet tall, just as he's described in the movie. So Rawhead Rex is a ferocious beast, and I don't understand how anyone can talk shit about that design. I think they went above and beyond, and I'm sick of people, trying to belittle the great craftsmanship that went into creating this character. So yeah, that was the thing that just struck such an impression on me, was the monster himself. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember after watching this movie, because there's a part in this movie where Rawhead, he just goes around terrorizing, people in this village, people in this town at random, and that was the thing that kind of got under my skin about Rawhead Rex, was the way he would just pick people at random. He'd go and he'd hide in barns, and then he'd attack people when they walked into a place on their own fucking property, and here's this damn monster, attacking him, trying to kill him. Now, of course, we learn later in the film that Rawhead, this whole village, the whole surrounding area there in this part of Ireland, was once his kingdom, was once his domain, and he was the ruler. So that's why he feels this territorial feeling, and he wants to attack everyone. But you don't know that right at the beginning of the movie. You don't understand why Rawhead is just on a murderous spree. But getting back to what I was saying, just the way this monster was going into everyday settings and just besetting upon people and just mutilating them and ripping them apart. At 5 years old, 6 years old, whatever it was when I first watched this movie, I would go outside, and I lived in the country a lot of the time. I'd live in the city for a bit too, but I'd also spend a lot of time out in more rural settings. And man, when I'd be out like riding my three-wheeler and shit, and I'd be riding out by the woods or by a bunch of trees, as a young kid, your imagination is just running wild. It's free-flowing like a fucking nice cup of Mountain Dew, you know what I mean? Just so many different flavors, so many different things. Everything seems larger than life. So I'd be out riding my damn three-wheeler, and I'd look back at the woods and I'd go, what if Rawhead Rex just came running out of there towards me? I think to myself, could this three-wheeler even outrun his fucking ass? Do you really think it could? Because he charges after people, and what would he do if he got a hold of me? Boy, he'd probably tear me limb from limb. So I'd always get scared thinking about that. I'd think about, how Rawhead Rex could be hiding out behind a wood pile, or how he could be hiding out in the forest or something like that. So that was really cool. Those kind of things where you can just imagine this stuff and try to make believe that a creature like Rawhead Rex could possibly be real. That's part of the fun when you're growing up watching these cool movies. So yeah, man, I don't want to get bogged down too much in this stuff because we've got a lot more details to go over. But first of all, let's dive right into the plot of Rawhead Rex. The monster-munching action begins with a dipshit farmer trying to remove a large stone tablet from his field. He wants to till the land and plant shit. Meanwhile, a mean-looking storm brews on the horizon, and it hovers over the hilltops. This storm has lightning strikes aplenty, and one of the bolts hits the stone, causing it to fall over. This sets off a chain of terror beyond all comprehension, because what lies beneath that stone is Rawhead Rex. He's a monstrous being that had been dormant for a long fucking time. You can tell by the rage in his eyes that he's ready to sink his teeth into supple human flesh. And he doesn't waste any time, because he starts terrorizing poor pricks all over the countryside. First he goes and hides in a farmer's barn. The farmer is a happy man with a pregnant wife. You see him walk over and pat her stomach, and they smile at each other. He wants to make love to his wife. He wants to kiss her and love her for the rest of his fucking life. Anyway, his dumbass goes outside to investigate the barn, and that's when Rawhead leaps into action, chasing the man down and tearing at his throat like a feral beast. After killing the farmer, Rawhead sets his sights on the beautiful wife. She runs screaming through the house, and Rawhead actually grants her mercy when he sees that she is pregnant. But I'll tell you what right now, old Rawhead isn't letting anyone else go. He isn't letting anyone else slide. He's ready to deliver total punishment to the rest of the surrounding village. Whether it be a traveling writer and his family, or an entire fucking trailer park, Rawhead is back and ready to reclaim his kingdom, so you better get your ass out of his way. Live like an animal and eat like an animal. Look at my pumpkin. When that pumpkin's done, I'm gonna put Cool Whip all over it. Nice pumpkin, nice milk from a breast. This Cool Whip is made from breasts, like milky breast milk. It's really fucking good. No pumpkin is complete without milky Cool Whip. Extra creamy, squeezed from fresh breasts.
We eat like animals. This so fucking good, Bob!
You never forget your first fucking slice. The first slice is the fucking sweetest. Okay, now that we've got the plot out of the way, let's talk about the violence in this film. What kind of little gory nuggets of deliciousness do we get to devour like little chicken nuggets dipped in barbecue sauce? Because we all know that a good monster movie from the 80s should have some good gory bits, so let's get right to it. First, we get a scratched up face and throat, and then a torn stomach. We also get a severed hand just ripped right the hell off, plus a severed head or two clenched right in the hand of Rex. Rex also pulls a man out a window and goes to town on his face. You also get this scene towards the end that really kind of sends the movie off gore-wise in grand fashion, because one of the dudes gets his throat bit, and when he does, it shows off some really excellent arterial spray. I mean, the blood just comes up like it's spraying out of a damn fire hose, so that looks pretty cool and sends the movie off in good fashion. But all that being said, Rawhead Rex isn't an overly gory and violent film. You gotta understand, this film came out in 1986, and at that time, the MPAA, they wouldn't let movies go out full-fledged balls to the wall gore and still let the makers slap an R rating on it. You know what I mean? This movie is an R-rated horror film from 1986, so it's bloody enough, but it isn't like over-the-top gore. It's just not hitting you right between the eyes constantly. That's not what this movie is. It has just enough violence to satiate the gorehound crowd, but it doesn't go above and beyond in that respect. The biggest plus to this movie is Rawhead himself, the monster. Also, you just get the idea that the violence that you do see is executed just right for full impact, There's one disturbing scene that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes where just the sound effects, you hear like these wet, juicy, flesh-ripping sound effects, and they really turn your stomach because you kind of picture in your head what's going on, so that's kind of effective. The soundscape take to this movie is rather effective. Now, moving along a little bit, let's talk about the setting to this movie. This movie was shot in Ireland, and the countryside that they utilize in this film is just breathtaking. It's really beautiful. I love the rolling hills. I just love the whole surrounding area. The atmosphere to this movie is really good. You know, the stained glass window in this movie with the picture of Rawhead in it, it's really cool and effective. I like that because you get the idea that he's been around for centuries. You know, Rawhead is an ancient being. I like that whole mythology behind the character. You know, it gives you something a little bit more to chew on. Just like when you're eating a cheeseburger, you also need some good fries to eat with it, with a lot of salt. You know what I mean? I love to have some good fucking French fries with my cheeseburger, so don't you forget that. One thing I want to mention before I forget is that powerful shot of Rawhead Rex standing on that hilltop at night. And you see the starry sky above him, and he's clutching that head in his hand. It's just such a beautiful, mystical shot. Now, let's talk about the score a little bit to this movie. The score to this movie is it's a big, thick, orchestral sound. It's very bombastic, and you know what? It fits this movie to a T. If we were talking about a slasher movie, now you know damn well I would rather have a synth score with a movie like that. Something simple, synth or piano-driven, something eerie, but no. With a movie like Rawhead Rex, you don't want that kind of score. You want something big and filled with grand flourishes, and that's what the composer for this film, that's what he delivers. It's big and it sounds very regal, very befitting a king-like creature like Rawhead Rex. So I really like the score to this movie. It does its job and it does it well. It's a really well-polished, professional-sounding score. But now that we've talked about the score, let's move on to a certain aspect of this movie that I find disturbing to this very day. And that's when the young son, Robbie, gets killed by Rawhead Rex. Now, when I saw this scene when I was a kid, I found it scary, alright? I thought it was rather terrifying. I mean, here we have a little boy being eaten by this monster. You know, he's sitting there in the car. He's all alone because his parents are a good distance away, and Rawhead just comes up out of the fucking blue. And it's a chilling shot when you see Rawhead's, you know, his reflection in the window of the car. I mean, that's a chilling shot. And think about it. This kid is totally powerless. You know, even adults, even a fucking army of people can't fight this monster. And here we've got a little kid sitting in the car. I've always found this scene disturbing, you know, and I feel like even now it kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. You know, in a movie like Pet Sematary, when Gage gets run over, I feel like that's an important plot point because it's something that really compels the story along and sets a certain chain reaction of events, you know, into existence. It's what compels and drives the story from then forward. But in a movie like Rawhead Rex, did this little kid really need to get eaten by the monster? I don't think so. I think it's to deliver more shock and, you know, kind of deliver more of a punch, but we're already intimidated by Rawhead Rex. We already know he's a violent monster with no boundaries. Do you really need him to eat the writer's son? Is that necessary? I don't know. I mean, is it as disturbing and as off-putting as if you were watching a movie like August Underground's Mortem? You know, there's some really twisted shit in that where it's just purely for shock factor. I mean, that's all that is. But in something like this, in Rawhead Rex, you kind of gotta, it kind of straddles the line. Is it for shock value that Rawhead eats the kid? Or is it important to the storyline? I don't know. I really can't tell you, but it's still a disturbing scene. And like I said, you don't see the kid being eaten by Rawhead, but you hear these flesh-ripping, nasty, juicy, wet, bloody sounds over the soundscape of the movie from the audio track. It's just, it really assaults your ears, that sound. And you see the dad reacting in anguish because he's on the other side of this fucking fence and he couldn't get to his son in time, and you see the agony on the father's face as you hear these sounds, and you know that Rawhead's eating the kid. So it's just a disturbing scene to this day. Now that we've talked about many factors of the film, let me show off a couple things real quick. First of all, this movie was released on VHS by the mighty Vestron Video back in the 1980s. Now, what's funny about this Vestron VHS is for a while, a few years ago, you would see people paying 30 to 50 bucks for it. And, you know, a large part of that was because the Pioneer DVD that came out here in America back in 1999, well, it was out of print for a long time. So one of the only ways to watch it here in America was to get the Vestron VHS. So for a while, people were just overpaying for the damn thing. And then finally, in 2017, Kino Lorber put it out on DVD and Blu-ray in a nice special edition. This thing has a bunch of interviews on it. There's a filmmaker commentary with the director, George Pavlou, that's pretty interesting to listen to. And I just love this set. I think the movie really deserves it. It was a long time coming. You take the DVD out of there, and here is... This thing has a reversible cover, so you've got this cover here. Now, I used to have a German hard box of this movie on DVD, okay? And this is the cover that was on the hard box that I had, all right? I like that illustration. It's pretty damn cool. And then if you open it up, okay, there's a booklet in here, all right? But then there's also, you've got the original Vestron art on the reverse side here, so you can reverse the sleeve if you want to. I think it's cool when DVD companies give you the option. They give you that reverse sleeve. That's really cool because some people, you know, it's like with the Scream Factory releases, people don't always like those new illustrations. They want to see the original cover that they grew up with. As you can see, I really like this illustration here. I like the artwork on this side, so I've just kept it this way. But yeah, if you don't have this Kino Lorber release, definitely pick it up. Like I said, you can get it on Blu-ray or DVD, so I like that. Like I've told you throughout this review, it's a movie that made a big impact on me growing up. I have a lot of fun with this movie anytime I revisit it because he's just such a cool monster. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise, okay? So I hope you liked this review, and if you did, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about Rawhead Rex. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'll be seeing you again real soon.